Good morning, Guardians. Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to talk about aim assist in the PC version of Destiny 2. But first, I want to quickly mention that the Bungie store has added a new Bungie Foundation pin to help fund disaster relief in Houston, Texas. It's about $15 and all the proceeds go directly to the Bungie Foundation. The pin seen here comes with a scratch-off code, which, when redeemed, will also get you an in-game emblem in Destiny 2. Look, it's a good cause for people who really need your help right now. So if you have the means, head on over to the Bungie store and pick one up, but do it soon because supplies are limited. All right, back to the topic at hand. The Destiny 2 PC beta has garnered a ton of praise. It runs great, it looks great, and it feels great. But there has been one sticking point for the PC community: aim assist. Destiny 2 allows for both mouse and keyboard play and for controller play. When playing with a controller, there is aim assist. It's present in PvE and in PvP, and it works. It works very well, like you would expect a Bungie shooter to. When you plug a controller into your PC and start playing Destiny 2, it feels like Destiny. Console players moving to the PC for higher visual fidelity or higher frame rates are going to be very pleased. The game feels like Destiny 2 on the console, but it looks better. But there does seem to be a problem. The PC community is not digging the fact that controllers have aim assist, and they got a couple of pretty solid arguments here. Number one, it's not an even playing field. Mouse and keyboard players are getting wrecked by controller players because controller players have aim assist, and that's an unfair advantage. And the second argument is it allows mouse and keyboard players to cheat, either by using software exploits or hardware to fool the game into thinking you're using a controller when you're actually using a mouse. So here's the deal. I do agree in theory, but I don't think aim assist should be removed. In PvE, I don't think there's any reason that keyboard and mouse players and controller players with full-on aim assist can't play together and have a great time. They can raid together, they can play strikes together, they can patrol together. I don't think anybody cares about PvE in that regard. But in a competitive setting, I do understand what the problem is. I see the problem is that with a mouse, you're going to be a little less accurate because you don't have that aim assist that controller players have. You have some other advantages for sure. You can spin around faster. I think that you can kind of strafe back and forth a lot better. You can kind of sidestep because hitting A and D, it's just a lot faster than swinging the left stick back and forth. So there are some definite advantages to playing on the mouse and keyboard, but aim assist is a big deal. And the fact that I could go in and just stomp on keyboard and mouse players with my controller, and I've been doing it, since the beta dropped, does indicate that there is a problem here. So my solution would be that there needs to be separate playlists. There needs to be a playlist that has aim assist on and a playlist that has aim assist off. And it's kind of sad because I'd like for mouse and keyboard players and controller players to be able to play together, but I do not think that removing aim assist from controller players' repertoire is a good solution. It makes playing with a controller just nearly impossible. It's no fun to play a shooter with a controller that doesn't have aim assist. It's very, very difficult. If you want an example of this, in a PvE environment, or a PvP environment, frankly, try shooting one of your teammates when friendly fire isn't on in your game. The difference between trying to shoot your teammate and trying to shoot an enemy combatant is actually really evident. You don't have any aim assist on your teammate. The game's not helping you shoot that guy. So you can see that it's much, much harder. And it makes the game less fun, right? You want that feeling of power. You want to feel like a badass when you're playing Destiny 2. So to take away the aim assist, I think is just a bad idea. It's going to make the game less fun. And if I want to play the PC version of Destiny with a controller, I want it to feel awesome. And if I want to play in my living room sitting on the couch without a mouse and keyboard sitting in my lap, I want to play with a controller if I'm going to be playing in my living room. If I want to lean back and put my feet up on the desk, I want to be playing with a controller. And I don't want to feel like, my experience is being hampered because mouse and keyboard players can't compete with controller players who have aim assist. But I also think that it does offer an unfair advantage. So the solution here is separate playlists. When you enter a PvP environment, simply select the playlist that you want to join. One playlist has aim assist turned on, and one playlist has aim assist turned off. So if you're a mouse and keyboard player, you simply select the playlist that has aim assist turned off, and that's across the board. No matter what version of PvP you're playing, aim assist is just turned off. If you're playing with a controller, or if you're cheating and using a Zim 4 and a mouse and keyboard, then you're going to go into the playlist that has aim assist turned on. Unfortunately, just like on the console, there doesn't seem to be a way to detect a Zim 4 or another device like it, a device that emulates a controller but allows for mouse and keyboard input. There doesn't seem to be a way to eliminate the use of that. And we've been dealing with it on the console version for years of Destiny 1. It looks like it's going to be a problem in the PC version of Destiny 2 as well, and it's a real bummer. So that really brings us into point 2. It allows mouse and keyboard players to cheat, either by using software exploits or hardware to fool the game into thinking you're using a controller when you're using a mouse. Look, unless Bungie and Blizzard can figure out a way to detect a software exploit or a hardware exploit like the Zim 4 and disable it, then we're stuck with this situation. And I think that my solution still solves that for mouse and keyboard players at least. If a mouse and keyboard player wants to go into a playlist with no aim assist, that would be available. But if a controller player wants to play Destiny 2 PvP on the PC, aim assist could still be available to them. Because, let's be honest, playing, like I said before, playing Destiny 2 without aim assist on a controller, it's just not going to be any fun. It's going to be too difficult. It's too difficult to be accurate with a controller with no aim assist for the vast majority of people. So I would like to see hardware devices like the Zim 4 really get focused on by Blizzard, by Bungie, and somehow figure out a way to disable them when playing Destiny 2. I really would. I also find it very interesting that for years, people have been using the Zim 4 on the PlayStation and on the Xbox, and mostly the argument has been that it doesn't actually help because you're dealing with aim assist on a mouse and keyboard, and that feels bad. But as soon as the game comes out for PC, and that option is available to people, it all of a sudden becomes a huge advantage. The conversation has definitely changed, and I think that comes out of ignorance. It comes out of the ignorance, and my ignorance was in this as well. Like, I speak from experience because I was ignorant to the fact of this because I had never actually tried it. I never have played mouse and keyboard on a PC game using like something like a Zim 4, or on a console game using something like a Zim 4. So there was ignorance for me. So I just accepted what I was being told by players who were using the Zim 4. Players who were saying, it's actually a disadvantage, right? It's a disadvantage having aim assist when using a mouse and keyboard. Well, it turns out, as soon as the PC community, who is very much an expert with mouse and keyboard, has access to this, they say, no, it's not a disadvantage. You get all the benefits of having a mouse and keyboard, plus you get aim assist. It's a huge advantage. So that's interesting. That's interesting. I think that it's something that the PlayStation and Xbox community need to start taking into account. And I think it's something that, Sony and Microsoft need to really start looking into. The fact that people are essentially cheating by using these hardware devices like a Zim 4 to cheat in games needs to be looked at, and they need to figure out a way to get these off of the system. They need to figure it out. I don't really have that much of a problem from what I've seen with people being able to plug a mouse and keyboard in for native support on an Xbox or a PlayStation, because as long as those don't have aim assist, from what we're seeing from the Destiny 2 beta on PC, they're actually at a disadvantage. But as soon as you put a keyboard and mouse with aim assist, all of a sudden you've got like God level aim assist plus reaction time plus precision aiming. You got like every advantage in the world. So, my suggestion is 2 separate playlists, right? One playlist has aim assist turned on. One playlist has aim assist turned off. And that's mainly just for keyboard and mouse users. So that's how I feel. That's what I think about the aim assist controversy in Destiny 2. I'm not super happy about any solution to this problem. Just leaving it alone, I think, is going to alienate PC players who want to play with keyboard and mouse and make the game less appealing to them, especially on the PvP side. But I certainly don't want them to remove aim assist from the game for controller players because, you know, it makes it a very fun way to play Destiny 2 on the PC, and I enjoy it personally tremendously. So I think there's got to be something in between, and it'll be interesting to see what Bungie does about this because they are listening. They are, you know, monitoring the discussion on this topic. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually do. They've got about almost 2 months before the full release of the PC version of Destiny 2. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What do you guys think about aim assist in the PC version of Destiny 2? Are you for keeping it? Are you for getting rid of it entirely? Or something in between? Let me know down in the comments below. I really am interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.